you feeling, buttered bagels?
I'm feeling good. That debate went
Yeah.
by fast. I guess we didn't have too much to talk about. We kind of covered everything about the convoy.
So, um, what are your thoughts on the Emergency Act and how the Senate kind of dismissed it? Because it seems like it wasn't going to get passed by the Senate, unless I'm mistaken.
I don't think the Emergency Act has to pass through the Senate.
No.
I don't know. Does it?
Yeah. So, from my understanding, it absolutely does. Um, he had temporary powers, and then they had to vote on it, and the Senate went to discuss it publicly, and they kind of ridiculed him, right? Because a bunch of provinces, right, like Doug Ford, openly came out and said that this is ridiculous, and we do not need federal assistance by any means.
Um. So I guess so you're saying the whole parliament, it has to go through the whole parliament before it could even happen. But he could invoke it without that. So what happened is he invoked it, but it never passed. You're saying?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh.
He only had temporary powers.
Well, yeah. I mean, he only needed the temporary powers, right? Like the honkers were gonna go home.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he was relying on it passing through the whole parliament. I just think he needed the authority at the moment, and he wasn't planning on keeping any sort of power after it or anything. It was just a temporary thing.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, the Senate came out and said that it was never going to pass because there was never any need that was kind of agreed upon for everyone who had the power to make that decision.
Yeah, but yeah, well, yeah, I don't think their calculations required it to pass the Senate.
Well, if that's the case, which it is, it's all documented live on television. Um, he, by literal definition, wrongfully and unlawfully invoked the Emergency Act because it was never going to get passed. You can't. This
He
isn't
could
something
invoke
that's
it. He's
well.
allowed to invoke it. It's not unlawful.
That's a nefarious move. It was never going to get passed. The Senate came out and
It's
said
not
that.
like
So
a
he,
permanent bill. It doesn't have to be like Canadian law forever. It doesn't have to pass. It's just a temporary measure to give the RCMP the support they need on the ground.
yeah, it's a bit of a tyrant move to do that, to just pull in power that you aren't authorized to use, to quickly use it while it goes to debate, where it will very much be squashed. And everyone in the Senate said, no, this is ridiculous. You do not have the authority to use it. It's unjustified. So by literal definition,
But I guess wouldn't
he
that
screamed
be
wolf.
sure? Let's say he invoked it without an intention of passing it, but wouldn't that be an example of our like a mass like our democracy and freedom we have in Canada, where the Senate and Parliament is able to function the way it is without any like oligarchs calling the shots like Russia?
Well, it's a bit of a weakness in the system to do something like that, to reach for power, temporary power that you do not have permission to use, just to be able to use it for a short amount
Well,
of time. Do you go ahead?
you say he doesn't have permission, but he is allowed to invoke it. The ball's just in the Parliament's court to do whatever they were doing. But I don't even know if the Senate need. It's just like a act. It's not gonna. It's not like permanent law. It's not like he was trying to. It's not like the Patriot Act or anything in the states. It's just a temporary thing.
Did you know that Civil Liberties Society is now suing him?
Civil Liberty Society.
Yeah.
What's that?
Are you on a device?
Oh yeah, sure. I could Google it. Here, give me 1 sec.
Sure.
Canadian Civil Liberties Association.
Yep.
Okay, so they're gonna sue him
Yes.
for it. I guess then it will go to court, and I guess we'll see if it was lawful or not.
So you, by no means, see this as a power grab. What he's done. You think it's justified, even though that he? I mean, that's like me running into a store without a mask, unvaccinated, into a restaurant, running through the restaurant unvaccinated, and taking whatever, just running through the restaurant unvaccinated with no mask, even though I'm not allowed to do that, and leaving the store or the restaurant before anyone has the ability to say anything. And then I say, "Oh, look, I just did it. I did it. I got my point across. I'm not allowed to do it, but I did it."
Well, I think it's a little different. Like I wouldn't consider it authoritarian, just because it actually had popular support. 66% of Canadians supported the use of the act.
Where's that number coming from?
Maru Public Opinion.
How the hell do they know my opinion?
I guess they
I've never
forgot. I
voted
guess they
or
forgot to
publicly
call
said
you.
anything.
I
I don't think anyone in here, out of the 250,000 subscribers that I have, unless anyone wants to come forward at any point and say that they were contacted or filled out any paperwork whatsoever to state their opinion on this.
Well, so let's see. There's a poll by Main Street Research. So here's another think tank conducted slightly later, February 16th and 17th, measured overall support and opposition at 51% and 44%. So that's closer, but it's still popular support.
Yeah, I mean, 67% of facts are made up.
Good one.
So, I mean, you hear one opinion that aligns with yours, and then you run with it.
Well, I guess like what evidence do you have that? What evidence do you have that it's authoritarian and it didn't have popular support? And even if it didn't have popular poll support at the time, it's still a representative democracy, so the prime minister would be able to do it without popular support. He got the mandate to do it when he got elected.
The Senate did not and would not pass it.
I mean, yeah, I guess you say so. I'm looking to the Senate thing later, but yeah, if it didn't pass the Senate, it doesn't matter.